The seasonally adjusted ABSA PMI increased by 5.4 points in June 2025, marking the highest gain since September 2024. Although the index remains in contractionary territory for the 8th consecutive month, the improvement in new sales orders and employment suggests some signs of recovery in the manufacturing sector. And joining me now to dive into the details and implications of these results is Economist at ABSA CIB, Sello Sekele. Thank you so much for your time, Sello. We did see an improvement in the June PMI. Just what can you say about this level of growth, and maybe just give us insights on the main drivers of that growth?
Yeah, so the main insights to give here is that the increase was one, broad-based. So we saw 4 out of 5 sub-indices increasing, but the main increase came from demand, especially domestic demand.
All right. Well, what are we seeing? Okay, so you're saying that demand has come back, but on what level is that growth? And also, how are you looking at export demand, considering the kind of risks that still remain in the geopolitical space?
Yeah, so in terms of the level of demand, I can say it's not that strong. I think the term to use is lukewarm in this instance. And then if you look at the external side, yes, there was an improvement, but it remains quite subdued in that front.
Yeah, and I mean, the PMI does still remain in contraction territory. What's keeping a lid on those gains?
Yeah, so it just goes to show that the difficult external environment is weighing on the sector, among other issues that we also saw on the domestic side, which is the own goals from I could say the GNU and the slow structural reform progress, right? So those are some of the things that manufacturers keep on talking about, as well as the closure of the potential closure of the important ArcelorMittal steel business. So those are some of them that are weighing on manufacturing business conditions.
Yeah. Is inflation not a worry yet for manufacturers, considering the elevation that we've seen in the oil price recently?
Yeah, so perhaps it is a worry, but for now there is no strong inflationary pressures, right? So if you look at the input cost measure in the June PMI, you'll see that it actually went down, and we think that the decline in diesel prices at the start of the month did help. But the inflationary story in general in SA is a good one. If you look at producer prices, for example, they are showing contained inflation. If you look at CPI prices as well, showing contained inflation. So for now, there isn't much to worry about, but let's see going forward.
The employment index rose. Was this a surprise?
It was, in a sense, that you have a situation where output essentially continued to weaken in the sector, but you saw an increase in the employment sub-index. So this goes to show that the strong demand likely supported employment. But when it comes to the employment story, I want to say that, this is one of the sectors where employment remains below the pre-pandemic levels. And for us to say, okay, we've turned a corner in terms of employment in the sector, we need to see that sub-index consistently rising and remaining above the neutral point of 50.
Yeah. And I mean, just lastly, as we wrap up the conversation, how are the expectations in terms of future business conditions looking like?
Yeah, so on that front, actually, that's one of the good news. So expectations are quite positive. Manufacturers are still expecting better business conditions in about 6 months' time. So it's one of the positives, actually, of the survey.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and for your insights on the latest ABSA PMI, Sello. That was Sello Sekele, Economist at ABSA CIB.